topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Well, good afternoon. Good to have you with us. Bill Martinez here. For more information on the show, we'll tell you up front. Check it out, BillMartinezShow.com. My good friend Eric Caron is going to be joining us in just a moment. Former special agent, decorated officer, and author of a great book called Switched On, The Heart and Mind of a Special Agent. He brings his years of passion and love for what he has done in service to our country and shares with us some ideas that are necessary in these prevailing times when you need to be situationally aware and you need to be switched on, especially in light of what is being thrust upon us, and that is this rank corruption at every turn within our government. Eric Caron, welcome to the show. Good to have you with us.
Hey, Bill, what an honor to be on with you, sir. I look forward to our conversation.
I always enjoy our time together, Eric, and I think it's such value, to our viewers here in this particular format, because it's the first time you and I have had a chance to do this TV show together, and we're going to have a little bit more time to break it down. But before we get into situational awareness and some of the specifics that you train about all the time, let's take a look at the current landscape. I mean, what was revealed here yesterday with these two whistleblowers. Boy, if this doesn't add to, our suspicions and our convictions that we've held all along, and that is the deep corruption of the bureaucracy.
Yeah, Bill. Yeah, it's sad. Over a year ago, Bill, I called for a complete colonoscopy of the federal government. I really did. The FBI, the DOJ, Homeland Security all need a colonoscopy, including the CIA.
Right.
Unfortunately, the cancer spread so bad during the last year, and the evidence is very clear. The FBI needs to be abolished.
Right.
And it's very, people will say, well, that's difficult to do. How could you say that? And who's going to do the job? Listen, first of all, the FBI has spied on a presidential candidate illegally. They opened FISA investigations against a sitting president. They spied on churchgoers. They arrested and they're prosecuting people relating to abortion. It goes on, and that can't stand in America.
Right.
And so other agencies, Bill, can take up the slack, if you will. Those responsibilities can be done by DEA and Homeland Security for the American people to regain its trust in the federal government. Really, the FBI needs to be abolished and its responsibilities given to the other agencies so it's a fresh start. Erase.
Exactly.
We made mistakes, devastating mistakes. We lied on affidavits and we illegally prosecuted people. And so, yes, other agencies can do it. So, a colonoscopy, certainly for the CIA and the DOJ is in order as well.
Well, maybe all the other three-letter agencies as well, because the corruption has metastasized to such a degree, Eric. Before my father passed away, I think it's been like 14 years, he and I were having a deep discussion about the government, and we both agreed that maybe we should call time out on the government, that we needed to go in and almost put it into receivership, like a Chapter 11, to where we could have somebody come in from the outside and really look at the inefficiencies, whether we're talking about the Department of Defense, just right on down, top to bottom, as you say. I mean, well, we got the cord out and we're going to do the colonoscopy. Let's just do it throughout the entire bureaucracy, so to speak, because it is that.
And not be afraid.
Exactly.
And have to take action.
Yeah.
And Republican, Democrat, if you will, Congress needs to say, put the interests, America first.
Yes.
America first. And what needs to happen here is that colonoscopy and those agencies, if you will, like the FBI, should be abolished. We can do this. It's not like rocket science, if you will, not putting a person on the moon. We can abolish the FBI, the other agencies, DEA, Homeland Security, and other agencies, ATF, can all pick up their responsibilities. It's not rocket science what they do.
Well, Eric, you know this firsthand. In watching these whistleblowers, I tell you, it pained me because I'm seeing two qualified individuals. It just so happens that they're landing on the wrong side of the power structure right now. So they're being maligned and treated like pariah. Yeah. But what they have put on the line, you talk about our founding fathers going to first principles, that we often talk about. What they put on the line, their lives, their treasure, their reputations, their honor. That's what these two men did yesterday. They put it all on the line. What? For what? For the sake of our country. And I couldn't help but think, Eric, and better because you've been there, is that how many other people just like Shafley and the other whistleblower, Ziegler, how many others like them that just want to serve? They want to, exercise their giftings and talents on behalf of we, the American people, and they're being stifled because of the corruption.
Yeah. George Washington said it best, Bill. He said, guard against the imposters of pretended patriotism. Yeah. And that's what the Democrat Party, I call it the Socialist Democrat Party these days. That's what's happening, is that they're demonizing police at the local level. They're demonizing agents, good agents who are being honest and presenting facts and documents and evidence, real evidence that shows that, unfortunately, our president is corrupt. Yeah. Our current leader of the free world is corrupt. The evidence is very clear. I've said it for the last year. Follow the evidence, the suspicious activity reports that banks are required to issue and fill out and submit those documents to the Department of Treasury. They speak on them. They speak very clear what was happening. And so the IRS agents who I've worked with very closely, very competent, very smart. These are bean counter type guys. A lot of them are accountants. A lot of them are attorneys. They know what they're doing. They follow the evidence. I follow the evidence with them. And it's very clear to me that you have a corrupt president. The Biden crime family is enriched himself using his office. And there's very clear regulations from the Department of Justice that I have in my hand. An employee may not use his official position, including information learned by virtue of his position, for his personal benefit or the benefit of others. This is in black and white from the Department of Justice. That's very clear to me what was happening with the Biden crime family. And then on top of that, Bill, let me just say, you have the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, a criminal charge. That is very clear what Joe Biden was doing.
And these are all felonies, Eric, right? These are all felonies.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is a felony, the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. It's been charged on many occasions in America, that U.S. attorneys throughout America, we have task forces. We have several task forces. This is what they do. They go after current or former government officials around the world who enrich themselves illegally. Unfortunately, we won't prosecute our current president who violated the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act.
Right. Yeah, we're talking with Eric Caron, author of the book Switched On, the Heart and Mind of a Special Agent, as we do a deeper dive on what is going on, because whether it's the mainstream media, our own government has a specific narrative that they want us to believe. It's like they're Jediing us, Eric, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's amazing to me that even with the polling and the low approval ratings that this president has right now, that there's anybody, I mean, it'll vacillate anywhere from 30 to 40%. And you wonder, you go, what are they seeing that I'm not seeing, that they think that this president is doing a job worthy of reelection?
Yeah. Well, It's exactly. You got to be living on Mars to think that he's doing a great job. The economy, crime, inflation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's terrible.
Yeah.
On average, 50,000 suicides. There's 1 million people who overdosed since 1999 in America. 1 million people, Bill. 1 million people, overdosed in America and died. 1 million. I mean, we're so distracted right now that I'm very concerned. Again, our foreign adversaries are watching Joe Biden every day, and they see that he's weak. And Iran sees he's weak. North Korea sees he's weak. Afghanistan, Taliban sees he's weak.
Right.
And right now, they're having a field day against against America, if you will, and demonizing and really. Crime is rampant throughout this world, and Joe Biden can barely string 3 sentences together.
Right. Well, as you say, Eric, I mean, again, as a special agent, you can appreciate this because he's put at risk our military forces, other special agents, our border patrol, because he is so weak, and he's left them all very vulnerable. And I'll tell you, it was quite scary the other day. I don't know if you saw this video of him trying to read something. I mean, he couldn't even say it, sitting down across, from the president of Israel. And the president of Israel kind of looked up to the media and the people in the audience like, is this for real? I mean, tell me I'm just experiencing a nightmare here. Yeah. I mean, to your point, he couldn't even read, from a cheat sheet, what he was supposed to say. It was like pure mumbling. It was sad.
It was. And, but think about it. You have him at the center. Who's around him? Yes. Who's pulling the strings, as often has been asked? And we have these other individuals who are extreme progressive liberals pulling the string and say, Mr. President, say this today. Yeah. Mr. President, do this today. He has no idea the implications of what he's saying or what he's doing half the time. Right. But he's like a little puppet being controlled. And it's very dangerous because we've seen the shift in America in about 2 years.
Right. And it's a continuation of Barack Obama's administration. In essence, this is becoming his third term. And if you remember, that's what Barack Obama was asked, would you be interested in serving a third term? He goes, not necessarily, but I wouldn't mind being in the ear of the president who was in the White House so that I could have a direct influence on policy. Yeah. Well, boy, it sure seems like that's the case, that he, it's a dream come true for Barack Obama at the expense of everyday Americans like you and I.
That's right. And, we talk about border security equals national security, Bill.
Exactly.
And, under Obama, he came out with a memo that said to Homeland Security and other officials, saying that you cannot call illegal aliens anymore. You need to call them undocumented. And now I'm Joe Biden administration. Now it's non-citizens. You have to call them non-citizens. And in some cases, states are issuing licenses, and some states want to give them cities want to give them voting. So the progressive movement has certainly moved very far to the left, and so we as Americans need to really wake up and understand what's happening. That our First Amendment, our Fourth Amendment, our freedoms are being attacked, unfortunately. And yes, we need to stand up peacefully and protest.
Right. Well, and the thing is that let's go back and we talk about first principles, how this country began. It began as a revolution. And perhaps we've gone full circle, Eric. And what happens in a revolution, yes, I think the heart of most people is that, they don't want bullets flying, they don't want people dying. Right. But look at our founding fathers, the patriots, the early patriots of this great country of ours, had to be willing to pay the ultimate price. And they did in many cases. So you can't control, when people get this upset. I think Ramaswamy had said it before that, when people are first irritated, they start to say something. If you don't hear them, they'll start to shout. If you don't hear the shouting, then they go to the next level, in so many words. Yeah. And when they go to the next level, humans being what they are. And as you're saying here, I mean, we got people committing suicide, the crime rate out of control. People are losing hope and realizing at the same time that the common denominator in all this mess is Joe Biden and the Democratic Party.
Yeah. For the last few years, Bill, since I've retired and wrote my book, Switched On, The Heart and Mind of a Special Agent, I've had a chance to be on various shows. And I feel kind of like the Paul Revere up here in Massachusetts,
right?
Ringing the bell to the American people. And it is frustrating that few people are listening to what you are saying and I'm saying, and I'm hoping that over the course of the next few years, people will pay attention because yes, our freedoms are certainly under attack. And so, yes, we need to get switched on. We need to live the switched on principles because life is hard.
Well, look what they're doing. I mean, look what they're doing to our kids, grooming our kids. And, you talk about open borders. There's a very popular movie right now that is engaging people across the country, The Sound of Freedom, about human sex trafficking. And the human sex trafficking that is demonstrated in this movie, it, shows that it is the kids, it's young kids under 10 years of age, Eric, that are getting captured and thrown into these, these sex camps.
Yep.
And this is all coordinated through our southern border and the cartels, and the Democratic Party is complicit in this enterprise.
That's right. You're right. And we're actually, the Homeland Security and Health and Human Services and others, the Catholic charities are putting children in homes with predators.
Amazing. Yeah.
And that's been documented. So, Bill, listen, I've traveled to Africa these last years and doing training for foreign governments in the area of transnational crime. And, right now there are 30 million people enslaved throughout America.
Wow.
30 million people enslaved. That for their labor, for their
we're talking around the world here, right, Eric?
That's right.
Million? Right. Okay.
30 million people, and all forms, right? Sexual exploitation, labor. It's happening here in America. Labor exploitation, organ harvesting, which I'm familiar with. Child sacrifices that are happening throughout the world. It goes on and on. Doctors in Uganda, 62 doctors are under investigation in Uganda for organ harvesting.
Yeah.
And don't think it's not happening here either, Bill.
No.
It's all what I just mentioned is happening here in America. And that's why we need border security here in America. We learned that hard lesson on 9/11, Bill, that 3,000 Americans died on 9/11 because we are soft.
And it was 19 terrorists roughly. And we have, I guess last year alone, over 100 known terrorists came through our southern border. And I think that's an interesting number. I mean, is it 100? Is it 200? Is it 1,000? It just seemed to me like it was an estimated number. They don't know, Eric.
That's right. They don't.
But at least they'll admit to 100. But, again, think about it. It was only 19 terrorists that did all the damage on 9/11.
Brought the world to its knees, Bill.
Exactly.
And you know what? In Africa, there are over 10,000 terrorists operating. There are dozens. I mean, we hear about Al-Qaeda, Boko Haram, ISIS. There are dozens of terror groups running around Africa. We have 20 some odd shadow wars going on in Africa. I can tell you the FBI Joint Terrorism Task Force that I used to be part of and ran the national security groups throughout this country, served overseas. There's over 1,000 joint terrorism task force cases going on today.
Wow.
Today. Yeah. And so do we need to get switched on? Do we need border security? Absolutely. Yeah. And, when I just came back from Kenya, and
I'll tell you what, Eric, let's pick that part up, the story of Kenya, because I want people to hear it in its full context. We've got to go to a quick break. We've got more from Eric Heron, the 25-year decorated veteran special agent with the Department of Treasury, U.S. Customs, and Department of Homeland Security. Right after this, stay with us.
Do you have heart failure and often hear,
"Those stomach issues ruined your birthday"?
"You're too tired to play catch, Grandpa."
Sweetie, you haven't touched your tools since the carpal tunnel syndrome diagnosis.
If these seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, talk to your cardiologist and ask about transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy, or ATTR-CM, a rare and underdiagnosed disease that gets worse over time. Learn more at connecttoyourheart.com. That's connecttoyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
How would you like to get high-speed internet for your home for less than $2 a day? That's right. For about $50 a month, you'll get lightning fast internet. Are you paying less than $50 a month right now for your internet? Then call Whole Home Connect right now for blazing fast internet at $50 a month with no price increases, no hidden fees, no contracts, no upfront costs, no equipment fees. It's a great deal. And guess what? You can try it for 15 days. If you don't like it, you get your money back. But you're gonna love it, and you're gonna love the price. Internet for your home for $50 a month. That's less than $2 a day. Plus, no contracts, no upfront costs, no equipment fees, and our 15-day guarantee. Call now. 800-699-0358. 800-699-0358. 800-699-0358. That's 800-699-0358. How would you like to get high-speed internet for your home for less than $2 a day? That's right. For about $50 a month, you'll get lightning fast internet. Are you paying less than $50 a month right now for your internet? Then call Whole Home Connect right now for blazing fast internet at $50 a month with no price increases, no hidden fees, no contracts, no upfront costs, no equipment fees. It's a great deal. And guess what? You can try it for 15 days. If you don't like it, you get your money back. But you're gonna love it, and you're gonna love the price. Internet for your home for $50 a month. That's less than $2 a day. Plus, no contracts, no upfront costs, no equipment fees, and our 15-day guarantee. Call now. 800-699-0358. 800-699-0358. 800-699-0358. That's 800-699-0358. If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. Ouch! Well, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers. If you administer insulin 3 or more times per day or use an insulin pump, call now and learn how a CGM can help you.
Painless. No more pricking my finger.
No finger pricks.
Convenience. They delivered it free and they took care of all the paperwork.
You can reduce pain right away. Plus, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you spend more time in range. And if you have insurance, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Call now and get free shipping of your new CGM. Plus, we'll bill your insurance for you. 800-823-9853. 800-823-9853. 800-823-9853. That's 800-823-9853.
Hey, welcome back. Bill Martinez here, along with Eric Caron. He is a former U.S. Diplomat Special Agent. And hey, we're giving it to you real, ladies and gentlemen. Your eyes are not lying to you. The pain that you are realizing, in spite of Joe Biden's pronouncement that Bidenomics is all that in a bag of chips, we know better. We know the reality of it. The fact of the matter is America is in crisis. Our First Amendment, America's cornerstone, has been attacked by the Communist Democratic Party. And as Trevor Loudon has been reporting, there are over 100 card-carrying socialists, democratic socialists that you've elected to office. And it amazes me, Eric, because, you know, when you go into office, you have to raise your right hand. Yeah. You have to give a testament, a vow that you will protect our country the citizens of the country, we the people, against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that would do anything against our Constitution.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is that here we are today, and the very thing that Abraham Lincoln, in so many words, warned us about, that any loss of our democracy and this great American idea would come more from the inside than existentially, right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Essentially, they're like double agents, Bill.
Yeah.
I'm very familiar with them. And these people are undermining our Constitution. They're attacking our Constitution. And it's unfortunate. We have to recognize it, take the appropriate actions, meaning we need to get them out of office when we can, impeach them when we can. And that's what we need to do. We need to start taking back our freedoms here in America. I mean, our freedom of speech is under attack. And it's, Joe Biden and the Biden crime family, and we see the two-tier system of justice, that can't stand in America. That might happen in Kenya, Uganda, the Congo. It cannot happen here in America. We are the example for the rest of the world to pay attention, to watch. I had some Kenyan official tell me, he said, Eric, I want you to know, when America sneezes, the rest of the world catches a cold.
Right.
And so everybody's watching us.
Now, it definitely flows downhill fast, from a cold to a flu to the shakes to COVID. I mean, just go right on down the line. And at the end, there's misery and there's death, unfortunately, that's associated with that. America, as John Winthrop said, was to be that light on a shining hill, that light of hope, the light of liberty. And though it's been dimmed a little bit right now, some may say even more than a little bit, I think my faith, Eric, is still with the American people.
Yeah.
I believe that we're strong enough cumulatively, and that by coming together, being united, not as Democrats or Republicans, but as Americans,
right,
coming together as one, united, boy, I tell you, we can get this country back on track and get these knuckleheads out of office that are taking advantage of us and ingratiating themselves. They're not like the early servants of our founding fathers, who came to serve the country, not to be served. Unfortunately, this professional elected bureaucracy and class of people, elites, that think that somehow, we're just so blessed to have them, with their fancy degrees and all this other stuff. I mean, look at what they've done time and again. We haven't been winning wars. We devastated America by not handling the COVID pandemic. And we're even warned that, look, this is just the beginning. Another pandemic is just around the corner. And what's the answer? The Biden crime family and the Democrats, they want to subordinate our sovereignty to the WHO.
Right.
The WHO, who mishandled this from day one, who still even today cannot tell us where the origin of COVID, where it came from. But we're going to trust them to be in control of our health, an outside agency. This is insane.
Yeah, I mean, let me just say, what has Biden done for the last 2 years? He mishandled the Afghan withdrawal and got Americans killed. Crime is rampant in America, throughout America. Look at Philly and Chicago, et cetera, et cetera. And he's gotten us into a war that is soon to be maybe a World War III.
Exactly.
I mean, hello.
Yeah.
And so, at the base of the Statue of Liberty, on your point, Bill, it says, give me or bring me your tired, your poor, your humble masses yearning to breathe free.
Right.
That was supposed to be for aliens, if you will, coming to America. That statement now is for Americans who want to breathe free.
Right. Exactly. But look at, just like our early patriots, Eric, they stood up. And America, we the people, must stand up. And the difference that we have, we have such a greater advantage when you think about it, because, those early patriots, they didn't have a Declaration of Independence. They didn't have a constitution. They had an idea, and they were frustrated because the way the current government was mistreating them. And it's amazing. When you read the Declaration of Independence in the context of today, you tell me that this isn't appropriate and this doesn't apply to the current environment that this government has put us in.
Yeah, absolutely. You touched on this, Bill. They had faith.
Yes.
And, faith and fear, opposing energies, isn't it?
Yes.
Faith, fear. Our founding fathers had faith. They didn't have fear, because if they had fear, God only knows what would have happened to our country.
Right.
And so where we would be at today. And so that's why it's so important that we have faith as individuals, as a nation. And unfortunately, of course, the Democrat Party wants to do away with religion, faith in America.
Well, they omitted God. They decided in 2000, Eric, to take God out of their party platform. And look what's happened to the Democratic Party since then. I mean, and you can go back to the mid 60s when the country, this separation of church and state had to happen because of public education and the pressures that were put on by the unions. And we took the 10 Commandments out of the hallways of the classrooms. Now look at the classrooms of today. They're a combat zone, Eric.
Yeah.
They're not educational facilities any longer. They're indoctrination camps.
No, yeah, you're absolutely right, Bill. Look at our schools, our public schools and private schools throughout America, the way they're functioning now. Look at our police departments today as well, and how they handle crime in America. They're not able to police in America these days.
Right.
That's why I've got many friends who are police officers. I have many friends who are still special agents in Border Patrol. You know what the Border Patrol slogan is now? There's a patch. I have the patch. The Welcome Patrol. Welcome Patrol. The morale is low throughout America in the school districts. Morale is low at the police level, if you will. And people are fleeing these cities. And who's filling the void? Number one, illegal aliens are filling the void in our inner cities. And liberal mayors love it because they have $6 million from Joe Biden for this, hotels, phones, food. And, other businesses love it because they're making money on the backs of illegal aliens. But you and I, we're not benefiting from the flood of 20, 30 million illegal aliens that have just come in the last year.
Yeah, but even from that standpoint, from a money-making standpoint, there's got to be a cost-benefit analysis. You are chasing away tax-paying citizens out of these blue states, and they're primarily blue states. I mean, there's such an exodus. It's incredible that's taking place. California, for example, as expensive as it's become for them, I don't know that they will ever be able to meet a budget after they chase so many people. And these are, these are businesses that were, paying, good taxes, if you can say tax money to the state, and they're gone, Eric. Yes. And this is happening across the country. And so the government can only give you so much money, because otherwise you're back to what Margaret Thatcher said, is socialism works until you run out of other people's money, right?
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
100%. You're right. California, New York, New Jersey, Illinois, and Massachusetts, top 5.
Yeah.
And, exactly. and they're all going to states with low crime, jobs, and the rule of law. And, I got to tell you, Bill, globalization, like it or hate it, it's here to stay.
Yeah.
But our government, the U.S. government, all governments really need to understand that bad guys will exploit globalization for their own goodness, right?
Right, exactly.
They exploit trade, travel, and telecommunication for their criminal purposes, meaning, trade, well, because they're going to import, 1,000 kilos of cocaine in a shipping container. Travel, I need to go to I need to travel to Bangkok so I can exploit and traffic children in Bangkok. So I get on a plane and I'm in Bangkok within 24 hours. And then telecommunication, same thing. I have dirty money. I need to move the dirty money over the internet.
Exactly.
So it's our responsibility, the U.S. government's responsibility, to recognize that, yes, there are bad people who are hurting us, who will exploit our freedoms, and we must be on guard to the fact that they will exploit trade, travel.
Exactly. And they're not looking out for our best interest, no doubt at all. Got to go to break. We've got more from the former U.S. diplomat and special agent, Eric Caron, out right after this. Stay with us.
Has your heater or air conditioner busted? Appliance broken? Computer crashed? Then you need an ARW home warranty. Home system and appliance repairs and replacements can cause stress and cost you thousands of dollars per year. With an A-plus BBB rating and a top-rated home warranty company on Consumer Affairs and Trustpilot, ARW Home provides superior service, featuring the industry's lowest service call fee. ARW Home has warranty plans that cover your kitchen and laundry appliances, heating and air conditioning systems, electrical and plumbing systems, and much more. Call 800-559-7562 to customize your plan. Plus, ARW has partnered with Azurian to protect your new and used tablets, laptops, TVs, and other home tech from accidental damage and wear and tear. All plans come with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Call 800-559-7562. That's 800-559-7562. How would you like to get high-speed internet for your home for less than $2 a day? That's right. For about $50 a month, you'll get lightning-fast internet. Are you paying less than $50 a month right now for your internet? Then call Whole Home Connect right now for blazing fast internet at $50 a month with no price increases, no hidden fees, no contracts, no upfront costs, no equipment fees. It's a great deal. And guess what? You can try it for 15 days. If you don't like it, you get your money back. But you're gonna love it, and you're gonna love the price. Internet for your home for $50 a month. That's less than $2 a day. Plus, no contracts, no upfront costs, no equipment fees, and our 15-day guarantee. Call now. 800-699-0358. 800-699-0358. 800-699-0358. That's 800-699-0358.
I am a non-attorney spokesperson representing a team of lawyers who help people that have been injured or wronged. Have you been diagnosed with cancer? Do you use pesticides in your job? Specifically Roundup. Roundup, made by Monsanto, contains a chemical called glyphosate, which has been linked to cancer. If you've used Roundup and you have cancer, you may be entitled to a cash award. Over $10 billion has been set aside to pay users of Roundup who've been diagnosed with cancer. Time is almost running out to file your claim. So if you've been diagnosed with cancer and you've used Roundup, call the legal helpline now. You could receive a free cash award and have your medical expenses covered. And time to file is almost gone, so please call right now.
800-890-7088. 800-890-7088. 800-890-7088. That's 800-890-7088.
Well, we're back with you. Thank you so much for being with us. And by the way, thank you again to our viewers for participating in our listener-supported campaign for truth and liberty. When you go to our website, BillMartinezShow.com, you'll notice a donate button there. And you have been responding to that. And I cannot thank you enough. It humbles me to have your support in this campaign for truth and liberty. As you can imagine, I mean, this is one of the few radio shows that you're going to hear these kind of open conversations, because radio shows are being canceled. Networks themselves are putting governors, in a sense, on speech that we're not able to speak so freely. But I'm so grateful for this network and the other networks that have supported us. And it's because of your help that allows us to have these open and free conversations and the free exercise of our First Amendment right. And I would say so far. So if it's on your heart to click that donate button, We thank you for doing that. Understand that we are in partnership with Hill of Hope. It is a 501c3 public nonprofit organization. So the good news is your donation becomes tax deductible. So even if you need a tax deduction, whatever you do and however you need to take advantage of this, hey, it's our gift to you because we're givers and we want to be win-win. So again, we thank you for your participation in this campaign that is supported by you, our viewers. Thank you so much. We're talking with Eric Caron, former decorated special agent. And Eric, I do want to go into a deeper dive in your book, but before we do, just to kind of encapsulate and summarize what we've been talking about, is we're being lied to 3 ways to Sunday. Whether it's Merrick Garland, clearly he's lied to us. He's lied to Congress. So he's in jeopardy here. So we're going to see what Congress does in terms of some sort of contempt charge, some sort of, some sort of consequence, because this is what the American people are longing for. So whether it's Merrick Garland, Christopher Wray, it just seems, especially based on the reports that we're getting, from these whistleblowers in particular, and what we're finding out, whether it's from, the Twitter emails and more discovery that that's being revealed to us. Yeah. They're just covering their rear ends and they're lying 3 ways to Sunday. And if we're going to clean this stuff up, like you say, a colonoscopy, we've got to get all the negative, all the lies out of the way so that we know what we're dealing with, right?
Yeah, absolutely, Bill. And thank you for the courage that you have for your show, your radio show and this show, because without it, people aren't hearing the truth. Because it is censored, and we've all been censored to some degree, and so it's important. And it's about time that our Attorney General and others are held accountable for their actions and lies. It's very clear that they're trying to protect Joe Biden and in the Biden crime family, and that cannot stand in America. The other thing is, Bill, and I've mentioned this on your radio show, the CIA is at the center of all of this.
Exactly.
We've heard very little about the Central Intelligence Agency. As you notice in these hearings, no one's talking about the CIA and how the CIA was at the center of the Biden crime family.
Right. This, in essence, is the deep part of the deep state, aren't they? The CIA.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Because what they're doing to us is what they've done to other countries. I mean, they're experts in this kind of psyops operation, are they not?
Yeah. So, Bill, a side note is that I investigated the CIA for obstruction of justice under Bill Clinton. It's in my book.
Yeah.
Relating to the tech transfer and relating to China and defense contractors illegally shipping U.S. technology to China for their missile program. I ended up investigating the CIA relating to that criminal case because they went behind our backs and they knew we had a ongoing grand jury investigation that they said they were helping us on. They gave the targets a quote unquote roadmap to our investigation. Now, I spent 6 months at Langley in the basement with their OIG guys. So I have a little good insight as to how the CIA operates.
Right.
And so let me tell you that when Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, meeting with the head of the Chinese spy agency, that doesn't happen without the CIA knowledge.
Exactly. Yeah. No, you're exactly right. This is how compromised we are. We're a bit delusional, Eric, right now. And this is why you're calling for a colonoscopy of our government. We're a bit delusional to think that our democratic republic still exists, because this is being run and the levers of power are being controlled by the deep state and the CIA. They're the Mad Hatters behind it all, are they not?
And yeah, I mean, absolutely. They are at the tip of the spear. DOJ, most of the time, not all, but most of the time, will crumble and fold if the CIA says back off.
Right.
And I can tell you firsthand, I've had several cases with the CIA, their CIA employees or CIA informants who went rogue, and the DOJ did nothing And that Hughes Loral investigation is a perfect example. It's in my book, Switched On: The Heart and Mind of a Special Agent. It's in my book that I show how the DOJ folded when the CIA basically told them to back off.
Well, look what happened with the Biden investigation. You know, the tentacles of the CIA are involved here because justice decided not to pursue. They gave advance notice to Hunter Biden's attorneys that they were going to come in and, check out a storage area, papers that Joe Biden has had in his garage and elsewhere. He's had advance notice, but certainly Donald Trump was not treated the same way, right?
Not at all. And essentially, the Bidens were a conduit, if you will, a vessel into the Chinese spy agency.
Right.
And the CIA thought, hey, it'd be great to set up these different types of companies and do joint ventures, and we get to control and listen and do whatever we got to do. And the Bidens are kind of, criminals, but, they're helping us too. So at the end of the day, I'm sure in about a year from now, you're going to hear that Hunter Biden and Joe Biden were great American citizens for working on behalf of the CIA.
Right. Imagine that story. Well, that's a narrative yet to be told. But hey, look at we've heard a lot worse. Your book, Switched On, Eric, is so important that people need to read because of what we're talking about. I mean, the dangers are, they're near, they're present, and they're growing. They're not going away.
Right.
I mean, the corruption, what we're seeing at the highest levels of our government. And so what does that do? That infects the body politic. There's no wonder that New York is so crime ridden, and Chicago and all these major, especially Democratic cities, because they're following the lead of what our government is telling them it's okay. And then, now I think it's Illinois, right? That you don't have to have any bail. They've passed a law, so you don't even need to have any bail. You're going to go in, you're going to go out. That's it. Ole.
Yeah. I mean, look at the poor Marine who defended
oh my goodness. Yes. Don't even get me started on that.
In New York. I mean, he's being prosecuted. You kidding me? Yeah. And so as Americans, we need to get switched on. And I can tell you, Bill, if I was not switched on in life, I would be dead today.
I bet.
I would be dead, meaning both in my physical world as a special agent, because I did undercover operations. I did a lot of search warrants and arrests throughout my 25 years. If I wasn't switched on and I made a mistake, it could cost me my life.
Right. Yeah.
And on the flip side of the coin, both in my, if you will, emotional, spiritual world, if I wasn't switched on, I would be dead today because of my PTSD that I suffered and my suicidal thoughts that I had on the job after I left the job, actually, and the struggles with PTSD. And so what Switched On helped me do was overcome the stresses, if you will, of life.
Yes.
And it helped me make good decisions. And that's why I want people to get the book, because it's a little, I tell war stories in the book, but and there's some self-help as well in the book.
Exactly. Right.
And so Switched On: The Heart and Mind of Special Agent, the website, Switched On Life. And I talk about my core principles. If I have 1 minute, Bill.
Yes, you do. Go ahead.
The core principles of living a switched on life that I learned from my Marine Corps father, folks, at 10 years old. At 10 years old. And my dad, my hero, died when I was 15 years old. Police officer, died on the job. Switched on, the principles. Strengthen the mind through education. It's your ticket to life's party. Without it, you're not getting in. The mind. I call it a muscle. I know it's not a muscle. You got to practice it every day.
Got to be exercised. Exactly.
The mind, the body. My dad would say to me, the three most important things we do every day: sleep, eat, and exercise. Sleep, eat, and exercise. The body. And the third is faith. Strengthen the soul through faith. When fear comes knocking, Bill, on our doors, and it will, send faith to answer.
Amen.
So those are the three core principles I live by every day. They're equally important, and they have to be fed every day.
Yes.
Every day. So that's how I live my life.
Well, Eric Caron, you've blessed us with your life story, with your experience. the nuggets of wisdom, that started with your father, passed on, and you've been passing them on to your kids and now to our audience as well. And I cannot thank you enough. How can people get their hands on your book, Switched On?
Yeah, of course, Amazon it's there on Amazon. Switched On, The Heart and Mind of a Special Agent. The audiobook is phenomenal, Bill. I love it.
Yes.
And then Switched On Life is my website. You'll see the articles I write for a Blue magazine and other newspapers, from the Washington Times and other articles I've written relating to crime in America and national security. So Switched On Life. And I hope people get switched on.
Well, there it is, ladies and gentlemen, just for you. Eric Caron, the former decorated special agent. Eric, thank you so much for being with us. God bless you. You take care. And our thanks to Eric. And for more information, to be a part of this mighty Martinez movement to return to God and to save our country, BillMartinezShow.com is where you want to go. May God bless you and keep you and make his face shine upon you. Go and be blessed beyond your imagination. Thanks for being with us. Take care.